Hello, welcome to the Soulpreneur Podcast, Cristina. I am so excited to have you on today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. And I have known you through Shalise, who is wonderful. I'll have to do another podcast with Shalise. Mm-hmm. I have really been so impressed with Shalise as a person, as an entrepreneur, as a mom, as someone who makes, just gives back to the community and truly genuine and helpful and create community and sisterhood. I have come to love her so much, and she is a good reflection of you. So I am so excited to talk to you and get to know your journey. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you do and your origin story?
Oh, thank you. So I do a little bit of everything.
Yes.
My main focus is real estate. So I own a residential real estate brokerage here in Salt Lake City. We serve the entire state, and I have agents that work for me. So that's been the baby, the biggest, accomplishment in being, having a brokerage. I also work as a fractional COO, which is under another company, which is called Ops Solutions and Consulting. And so I help businesses, all businesses, so not just in the state of Utah, but all businesses with their operations, so their standard operating procedures, and that has been a lot of fun. We also flip homes, and we're investors in a sense, and we have Airbnbs, and so we have that as well as a side hustle. So we kind of have our hands in a little bit of everything.
That is amazing. That is so inspiring. I have this, I do that. And it's like just all your different passions coming together, in the form of various businesses and generate income and do good work in the community. I love that. So real estate brokerage is your main business, if you will. How much time do you spend in real estate? In a week?
More time than we have.
Yeah, is that your most time consuming as well?
Yeah. I mean, I'm coaching and mentoring agents, and so that takes a lot of time. I'm also an educator, so I'm a state instructor, so I educate and consult other brokerages as well, and review contracts and really try and help our industry level up our standards, our professionalism. So I'm also a community advocate in our industry. So that takes a lot of time. And then I also have a nonprofit I forgot to mention. So
yeah. I did hear about that. And so tell us about it.
Yes.
Nonprofit.
So it's founded the Lionheart Gift Foundation in 2016. And what that is we just give back here in the state of Utah only. And we give back to our law enforcement, military, 911 dispatchers, firefighters, registered nurses. Actually, we just did a change. We added criminal detectives and investigators to our list as well, because they're civil. They are also part of law enforcement, but they're not, what do they call them? They don't have to get licensed for it or go through any kind of academy for it. It's all done through, schooling. And so we added them to our list, and we give back in ways of sponsoring. We give, we don't sponsor, I take that back. We give scholarships to firefighters to go through the academy so they can become firefighters, and we help them get hired on with the fire department. And so we've given quite a few of those out. And then we just help our community. So anybody in need who meets the Lionheart criteria, they can apply within our nonprofit, and we just help them any way we can. I have so many stories about, that's just what we do. We just give back in any way that they need.
I love that it's so flexible and it meets the needs of the individual rather than just having a set of, different ways you can give back. It's like we're here to help you in any which way you need that help. That is beautiful, and also very niche and specific for our law enforcement and firefighters, and just, such essential work that they do. And thank you so much for doing that. This reminds me, during COVID, when the first week of COVID at Saffron Valley, we wanted to give back, and also just to keep the morale of our staff. We were giving free meals out to firefighters and the law enforcement and healthcare workers and grocery workers, because they were the ones who were working so hard during that time. So we gave out 3,000 free meals over
Oh, amazing.
3 weeks, which was so fulfilling. It was just a small initiative, but it's so good to recognize people who are there just to protect us, and and no matter holidays or they are there. They're on all the time, so they deserve all the kindness that we can extend and support we can extend.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm married to a retired law enforcement officer, and so watching him in the line of duty and being there in action, and actually being there when we lost one of our officers, and being at the hospital, and just being with the families, it's overwhelming. And so it feels good to give back.
Yes. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about your childhood. Where did you grow up, and how did your early childhood memories influence, if at all, in what you do now?
That's such a great question. I grew up here in Salt Lake in a city called Rose Park. So a little harder city than most cities. And so, my family came here from California, and we just arrived in Rose Park, and that's where we landed. So I lived in Rose Park and went to school there until I got married. And I used to work for my dad. My dad was also an entrepreneur. He owned his own company. He owned his own mechanic shop. As a child, I always worked with him. Even when I was like 8 years old, I would do all of his books and do all of his paperwork, and I just help him any way I can. I'd go to his shop, and I'd clean the shop, and just kind of help him with all his stuff. And as I grew up, I would organize his office all the time, and just kind of knew the lay of the land. So, I kind of became very intrigued in business at an early age.
I love that. And you do that, as a COO now. So I always am fascinated by how so much of what we do now is influenced by our childhood. And if, show me anybody who is in business or is doing anything, if they can, really self-reflect, there's something that has happened between the ages of 6 and 13 that has deeply influenced their reason for what they are doing now. So thank you for sharing that. That is great to know. And
yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
There's some truth to it. I mean, it is, when you have that example, I guess, influence around you as a child, that's kind of what you just know, know. So yeah, it's been fun.
Right. And what are some of your other passions? Because you seem to have a lot of passions, and you briefly mentioned, but what are some of your other passions that you've turned into businesses as well?
Well, I definitely love flipping homes. That's a passion. I love to me, I feel like every home has a story, and everyone deserves a home. Every home deserves a family. So when I look at homes, I don't look at it just as an object. Like it's the walls that protect. And I think, again, it goes back to my childhood, because when we came here, we lived in I want to say it was like a 2-bedroom apartment, where we were a family 6. And so, we slept on the floor. And so I really have a different, I guess, sentimental value of a home. Means so much more to me than just a transaction or just a home. So when I see a home, I love the transformation, and someone's home who maybe they lost a job, or somebody lost a family member, or whatever the reason is. A lot of these homes get neglected, and so they just need some love. And my husband and I can come in, and we'll flip them and be able to do it right, because there's also some craftsmanship that's not the best out there. And, my pride definitely gets put in my work. So I always want to make sure that what we do and everything that I do is of quality. And so we are able to turn another home to another family. So that's fun. Another passion I would say of mine is I love flowers. I love doing flower arrangements. And so sometimes just there's something about the colors and the smells, and I just love flowers. So I'll just make arrangements and go hand them out to my friends, or, give them to a neighbor or whatever. I just, whatever calls to me, I just do.
That's beautiful. It's very therapeutic to work with flowers, and so fulfilling to present them to someone who,
Yes.
Makes their day brighter. So
Yes.
I love that.
Yeah.
And thank you for touching upon the aspect of purpose in business, because you would think that in real estate, to find purpose through the work in real estate is not so common. But I love that that's what motivates you. That's what gets you up in the morning to create that safe space for families. And I love the way you explain how you look at homes and how you look at people, the relationship between people and a house, and that's amazing, and I love that. And that brings us to soulpreneurship, which is about business owners, entrepreneurs who pursue their business with purpose, as their focus, as well as turning their passions into a profitable enterprise, as well as giving back to the community. So it's only natural that I invited you to be on this podcast. And yes, what does success mean to you?
That's such a big question. I think success is just being fulfilled in every aspect. I think you can feel success when you have intent and you set your intentions on everything that you do. You'll get fulfillment. I just feel like success is your own, it's defined as your own, definition of what success is. And I guess to me, it's intentional. Just seeing people happy, being able to help. But, when you were talking about real estate, it's like everything that I've ever done in business, even like with the brokerage, I'm not just a brokerage that's open to anybody. I'm very selective. I have my boundaries, and, there's a broker for everyone, and I may not be the broker for everyone. And so the people who are with me are aligned. And again, it goes back to being intentional, because my time is very valuable, and I give to each one of my agents my time, my knowledge, my expertise. And so it's hard to just give to everybody. There has to be intention.
Yeah, I love that definition of success. And you're right, for everybody it's different. And for you, it's living life with intentionality and creating your own outcomes, and knowing that, you choose where you put your resources.
Yeah, absolutely.
And have boundaries. And that's, again, so true of a soulpreneur, because you are right. And what brought you to this stage? Like, have you always been like this, or have you had to go through some challenges in life that have, because I believe that it's really through the hardships and the challenges that we learn so much.
Sure.
Not so much through the success. Success is great, but I think challenges and the and the hardships is where the lessons are. So how did you become so clear and so intentional in how you do business and life?
I think I've always been intentional. I think that's just something we have naturally. I just think we learn as we grow how to master it, if you will, how to really use it to self, I guess, just to master yourself. And so all the things that I've experienced in my life had led up to here. So back to my childhood, I was very young. I don't know if you want me to go into my childhood,
yes.
but I was very young when I started my family. I was part of the teenage pregnancy era, and I got pregnant when I was 15, and I had my firstborn when I was 16. But prior to that, I was already married. So I married, the father of my kids when I was 15. And so having to grow up had led me into also being intentional. When I told my parents that I was pregnant, I was given 3 options. So basically my voice, my decisions, my power was being taken away at that moment. And I became intentional immediately at that moment, where it was like, nope, this is my life. This is my decision. This is my body. This is my choice. I get to choose what I want to do. And if this is my option, that's what I'm going to do. So the option was, one of the options were to marry the father of my kids. And so we did. So we got married at 15 and was immediately moved out. You have this mentality of a child like, okay, well, my parents are telling me everything I'm supposed to do and I'm supposed to obey and I'm supposed to listen. And, we grew up so hard and disciplined that when I got married, I was like, so can I move out now? Like, is this when I leave? Can I leave now? And that was it. I mean, I left and I left home. I flew the nest and moved in with him. And that's when the intention started. So even those experiences and then, everything that has led up until now, fast forward 20 years, I divorced, the father of my kids. And I went through this whole spiritual awakening, which is another.
I'd love to know about the spiritual awakening and your journey. Yes.
And so I went into, where did I even start? So again, going back to the intention, how to swallow my pride, going back to when I left my parents. It was when I left my parents, I emancipated my parents, basically divorcing them through the court system. I had to hear them tell me I was going to be a failure and I wasn't going to amount to anything in life. And, it wasn't the life that they had wanted me to, or that they saw for me. And so I kind of lived my life like, well, I will just prove them wrong. Like it never scared me. Being a young mom never scared me. Going back, I did everything I was supposed to. I graduated with my class, even though I wasn't allowed to go to school with my school, as a pregnant child. I had to go to an alternative school, so I had to finish my school years there. I was married at the time. I was moved out. We had an apartment, so we had to take care of our bills, and I had to take care of my family and also work. So I was working and going to school. So all of these little things that I had to do in my life just kind of built my strength and my independence. And so I've just been kind of intentional like all along. So going back to when I went through my spiritual awakening, I had to swallow my pride and basically move back home to the parents who I had to just basically say, you're right. You were right. Wow. And even though they weren't right, it was that moment of like, it doesn't matter who, what, when, it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, this is my life. And yes, I'm moving back in and I'm going to get myself out. I just need a little bit of time, but I'm not here forever. Yeah. And went into silence, turned off all the phones, and did it with my kids. So, my kids were part of my life, and everything that I did was for them and with them. And I never really, I guess, they did have a childhood, but they also grew up kind of fast too. They were very mature and responsible. And I just included them in everything. Yeah. So they went through it with me. Yeah. They were kind of my foundation, where I could lean on them, they could lean on me. And we went through the silence and went through the spiritual awakening where it was more of a transformation, really finding self-love and finding that strength of not worrying about what anybody else thinks or says, or it doesn't matter. It's about me, my choices, my life, and it doesn't matter. So. Yeah.
What a great example for your kids. And you were 15 when you had your first child. So like you said, they basically, you all grew up together, if you will. Yeah. Yes. So that's a special bond. And those were some huge changes and huge things you had to go through at that age, which, explains like your grit and your determination and your perseverance and, the need to not just survive, but succeed and thrive, which you are in life, and to give back. And I feel like a lot of us who have gone through hardships at a younger age or growing up are so much more compassionate, because we've been through stuff, and so we feel for empathy for other people. And so I think that's such a great quality. And not that other people who haven't gone through hard stuff are not empathetic, but there's a certain degree of feeling and emotion involved in in people who've had a rough childhood or growing up. So
yeah, I think everyone has their own definition of strength. Some people are stronger than others, and it doesn't make them less sensitive because they're able to basically hardship through it, you know. But sometimes you just kind of build that hard shell, and it's not that you don't have empathy. It's just you may have built such a strength to just overcome it. Yeah. You know, so
what's your let's see. It's okay, we can edit that part out, but okay. What's the secret, or what are the ingredients for success, being successful in business? Or at least your reasons or your ingredients or your secret to success?
I really think you just have to set your intentions. When I say set your intentions, you have to be really intentful, like really think things through. I think success will come automatically. It's really like the best example, I could come up with is, when you kind of have one foot in, one foot out. When you have one foot in, one foot out, you're not really focused. And it shows in the results. The results will be one foot in, one foot out, because there's no focus, there's no intent. I think the main ingredient for success is really identifying what you really want. Where, a lot of people say, find your why. I think it's deeper than really just finding your why. I think it's, what do you really want? Yeah. What do you want, and how do you map it out? Which again goes to kind of like the operations, because it's like really like creating a process for that success. And so it's setting those intentions and having those intentions practiced every day. Yeah. Consistency. Yeah. And it's whatever works for you. Like sometimes, I meditate every day, and that again was part of my spiritual awakening. It was learning how to have self-love. I read so many books and I really was a student of transformation. How do I find that strength within me to find that spiritual awakening where I sit at a higher vibration, where just you can see things where you don't overreact. And just take things for what it is, and learning how to accept things for what they are. But meditation was part of it, and I meditate every day. And some people think, there's a proper way to meditate. There's not. It's whatever works for you. Meditation is amazing. So I do that.
That's great. So did anybody influence you through this spiritual journey, or who were your mentors, or who inspired you to go on this path? And thank you for sharing your experience with meditation. And I completely resonate with that. And I can't vouch for meditation more than, So what does, how does meditation help you? Like, why do you meditate? What exactly does meditation
do for me? Oh my gosh, it does wonders. So again, it goes back to the intention, and it's calming. It's really just through your breath work and through just setting the intentions every day of being aligned within yourself. It just sets the day for success. It really does. And so I take 10, 15 minutes sometimes every morning and just set the intentions, breathing in, breathing out, really just kind of loving on myself and shedding gratitude for absolutely everything that I have and people in my life. And it, in a sense, it could be considered a prayer. Religious, to me, it's just a spiritual sense of who you are.
Yeah, I love that. It's spirituality, which is not religious, but it's recognizing divinity within you and your connection to yourself and the higher source, power, God. So I love that so much, that you have a morning routine, 10-15 minutes of breathing and meditation and just affirmations and visualization, setting intentions for the day, and just going out and doing it. I wish more women, more people embrace that, because it is such a powerful way to develop inner strength and have mental clarity and emotional resilience, which are, I think, key ingredients for going through life in a way that is joyful, and you can manage stress and just
everything.
Yeah, and just manifest whatever it is that you want to do, because
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'll meditate throughout the day too. I mean, I could be in a very challenging conversation, because in the business, it's all about challenging conversations when you're up for negotiations.
Yeah.
It's, it's just something you can do to, relax before, you could do it relax after. And it's really just centering yourself. And even sometimes if you've had a rough day, meditating at night, sometimes I'll even just take a bath, and some nice hot water with the lavender and, and just kind of having self-time. It's amazing.
Yes.
And just meditating. Yeah. It's wonderful.
It's such a natural way to overcome fear without having to cope with it or mask it or, ignore it or avoid it or be unaware of it. You recognize it and you know that you're much bigger than the challenge and the fear. And I think meditation gives you that space in your mind as well as in your body. So
it's self-power. It's self-control. It's self-awareness.
Oh, yes. I love that. So self-awareness is another key ingredient of being a soulpreneur. So passion, purpose are common in any types of entrepreneurship. But I think being a soulpreneur, it's that the differentiation is self-awareness, being highly self-aware of yourself and, people around you, and just living with intentionality and creating the future that you have, you set your vision on. So thanks for bringing that up, self-awareness. So what would you like to share with, younger generation of entrepreneurs, women going into business? As you know, we as women in business have specific challenges when it comes to, having kids and being home. And, we put our careers on the back burner during our 30s and somewhere into the 40s. How can we find the balance between being a caretaker and taking care of ourselves and then creating impact in the community?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think first you have to focus on yourself, because you can't take care of anybody else unless you're in good space. But for the young ones, I just feel like every dream is reachable. And I'm perfect example, being so young and accomplishing everything that I did. You don't need to wait for anybody to tell you or give you permission that it's okay. You just do it. Yeah. You just got to do it. But again, it's having intent. It's having discipline, setting those boundaries for yourself and being able to manage it all. But that's where the boundaries come in. Because, for young moms who have kids, you can still run a business and have kids. But again, it's those really treating it like a business and identifying what are your negotiable and non-negotiable hours. So your non-negotiable hours would be the time with your family, your priority. What are your operating hours? If you're with your kids from 5 to 7 or 5 to 9, you're not working. So those are off hours, right? So you're setting your boundaries, saying, I can't work during these hours. That's self-discipline. It's really setting those boundaries and sticking to that. Because then you're not feeling the stress of having to be in all the places, or being over here and over here, and your heart is in all the places, but you can't be fully present and setting your intentions for that. I mean, when I say setting intentions, I mean in everything.
Yeah.
You know, being fully present and having like, you know, in this podcast, it's the intention is I'm going to give my time to you and be here with you. And that is the way I set the intention of this, you know, being here. It's just being present, being vulnerable and answering any questions that you have that I can share. And, hoping, you know, setting the intentions that your audience, you know, is going to love, you know, hearing this.
Oh, I love that so much. Being in the moment. And you've given such great gems and words of wisdom that have just, you know, been so endearing and just valuable to myself and everybody listening to this podcast. And I'm going to watch your, you know, the podcast again, and just to make sure that, you know, it's a great reminder. No, I love it. So you bring up a great point about being in the moment, because did you know that as human beings, our mind is a lot in the past or in the future, but not here. But even if you're thinking about a happy incident from the past or dreaming of a happy, you know, future, your body is still not happy because it recognizes not the truth. So it's important to be in the moment to feel happiness, you know, fully. I think that is such a great, you know, reminder for all of us, know the importance of living in the moment. And that's where the happiness is, because your body keeps score, but your body also recognizes your intentions.
Yeah. And, you know, it's been a work in progress. I've had to learn how to do that. I mean, when the kids were growing up, I was, you know, multitasking and trying to pay attention to kids, and then also trying to be at work and trying to get off early or trying to finish a project so I could focus on them, but then they weren't getting mom time or getting, you know, the attention that they deserved. And so they kind of had to figure things out on their own. So I had to learn that. Yeah. It was hard. But now being, you know, where I'm at today, that's something that, you know, I would definitely share with some of the young mamas that are starting a business. And, you know, it's that time, I don't get that back, you know? And so it's not that it's not lost time. It's just time that I wish I could have been a little bit more present, you know, for them. Yeah. And so.
So true. We, as much as we want to, you know, share with the younger generation of all the mistakes we did, I think there's some beauty about going through life and learning and just trust. I think trust is the word that comes to me a lot, that just trust that everything is going to be great and everything is going to fall into place and everything is happening just the way it should. At any given age, I think we all, but I think as we mature, we have more understanding of that concept of trust and, you know, trusting the process. But as young women, there's always so much uncertainty and anxiety to do and to create and to be. And so just enjoying the moment in that moment is important, and the time with the kids or time doing whatever it is, and to trust that all their dreams and aspirations will come to fruition in time with the right intentions and you know, taking the right action towards that goal. But that's great advice. Is there anything else you'd like to share with our viewers? How can we support you in your work with Lionheart Foundation or any other causes that you are pursuing?
With the Lionheart Gift Foundation, to give back or to support that, I mean, we have two major events that we raise money for. And that's the gala. We have a winter gala in February. It's the next year. It's February 22nd. So 2/22/25. Wow. Yeah. We have a golf tournament, which is the Russ Groves Golf Memorial. And we do that every July. And so all the money raised it all goes back. So every penny goes back to our Lionhearts. And so you can participate there. That would be a great way.
Is there a website, lionheart.com?
It's lionheartgift.org.
Okay.
Lionheartgift.org.
Great. And it's a nonprofit. Is it registered 501c3?
Yeah.
Great. Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time today. Thank you for your wisdom. And I had such a great time just listening to all your experiences and all the nuggets of wisdom that you had to share. And I appreciate all you do for the community and just in the real estate world and following your business and your life with passion and purpose. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've enjoyed this so much, and thank you for giving me an opportunity to share.
It's our honor. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yes.
So, thank you.
You.
Yeah.